Hi, everybody, and welcome to a short demo on how to configure the Confluent data platform with Cloudian Hyperstore S3 storage appliance. So what we have here is a single node Confluent platform deployment. And what we're going to do is just take a look at the server properties file for the system. And this has all of the configuration items for the broker and the other parts of the Kafka configuration. But we're most interested today in the Hyperstore tiering settings that we've placed in the bottom of the file. So here we can see that we have enabled the tiering feature. We've configured the backend storage type to be S3. We've specified a bucket name, a region. We have a replication factor of 1, and that's because we're a single node configuration for Confluent. So this will match. And we have a number of milliseconds to use for the tiering configuration. We're able to specify server-side encryption here, and also specify the number of bytes at which the tiering threshold is met. And the last two settings, we have set an S3 endpoint configuration of s3west.cloudian-pnslab.com. That is our Hyperstore system within the lab here. And then finally, there's a choice between specifying the credentials as environment variables, or you may do so as a file. So we've created the Hyperstore credentials file where it's storing the access secrets for the bucket. Once that is done, actually tiering data to the system is as simple as just writing it to a topic. So let's come in here and create a new topic on the system. So we're going to iterate this up and call it demo 5. That's our demo 5 topic created. And then we're going to create a producer using one of the Kafka performance tools. Again, we're going to increment on the topic number here. So that is demo 5. And it's going to write a relatively small amount of data. So the record size is reasonably low. The throughput will be around 5 megabytes per second specified here, and 3,600 records. So it's just taken a couple of seconds to write those. And then in the last step, we're actually able to configure the consumer that will then read that data from the Kafka queue. So while that's doing that, let's take a little look at our Cloudian system. So here we can log in as the admin user and just take a little bit of a look around. Okay. Here we can see an overview of the system. We can look in at the cluster status. We can also look at some of the storage policies. And there's quite a number of pre-configured storage policies in here, but let's take a look at the options for one of them. So EC4+2 is an erasure coding type policy of distributed data and parity across 6 nodes within the cluster. It has quorum functionality enabled so that writes are guaranteed consistent into the cluster. And we can set settings such as server-side encryption and also things like the type of compression that we use server-side again in order to offer the most cost-effective solution for storing Kafka or actually any data for that matter. I'm going to go ahead and sign out of here now, and we're going to log in to the Kafka group as the Kafka user. Okay, here we can see we have a bucket called Kafka test. It's using the EC4+2 storage policy. We can go through and see some of the options here. So we have lots of capabilities around bucket permissions. We can see the storage policy. We may also set lifecycle policies around retention and expiration of objects through here. We can configure cross-region replication between multiple systems, enable versioning, and take a look at what's actually within the bucket. So this is the bucket that we had configured, specified in the server properties file. We can see that there's a top-level folder in here. I've been testing this on and off for a little while, so there's actually a good amount of data. The way that Confluent writes is it uses a top-level directory structure that allows actually some systems to be able to better distribute objects across the system without reaching any limitations that you find on typically on normal file system products. Let's have a look in here, scroll down through the directory structure, and we can see here this is how the producer state data, the actual data and the tiered objects written down into the Cloudian hyperstore, and yeah, you can see that we've actually written a total of 6,400 objects and about 11 gig in total during the testing so far. Well, here we can have a look at the status. Some of these, and actually we've downloaded that object there, as you can see. Come back in, take a look at the other folders as well. And it's a very similar structure. Notice those previous ones had the delete marker because they were exceeding the retention time. But we can look at the properties of some of the objects here like this. We can see the general permissions. Owner is the Kafka group, Kafka user. And we can see that the echo is set to private so that only that user can actually access these objects. All right, thank you for joining the demo. And now back to Amit for the rest of the presentation. Thank you.